Hello again. In this video, we are going to show you how to post entries from the AR and AP modules into GL master file. By posting the entries from various modules in our application into the GL module, you will be able to consolidate all the financial information into a central location. You will be able to generate financial reports such as profit and loss, balance sheet, trial balance, posting journals, as well as an up-to-date checkbook account balance. The GL posting process typically extracts the entries from AR modules such as invoices, payments, credit memos, and discounts, and post them into the general journal file first before they get finally posted to the general master file. Now, to activate the AR posting option, simply select this option from the GL module menu, Post AR Entries. But before we even do that, first let's check the GL General Journal to make sure that we don't have any manual journal entries left over from the previous batch, so that this example will be much easier to follow. So as you can see here, there are currently no entries in the General Journal file, and I'm also going to go back to an existing invoice in the accounts receivable invoicing and look up an invoice and essentially modify one invoice to include an amount against a specific department, and I want to show you how that will be posted into the GL module. So let's say I want to include this $5 of revenue against the Department 15. Okay, so for this invoice, we have invoice number 1158, and with a department of 15, $5 revenue. So I'm going to save this. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the GL module, and I'm going to select Posting AR Entries. Okay. Okay, and there's a prompt. Would you like to make sure that everybody's using, all the users using AR and GL module? So I'm going to go ahead and select yes. Alright, here you can see that it's going to go through and post invoices, payments, discounts, as I mentioned before. Here, the system allows you to select to either post invoices and or payments. You can check and uncheck selectively. Let's say if you uncheck post invoices, leave invoices unchecked, and check post payments, you click on OK, the system will only post payments, accounts receivable payments, into the general ledger. Or if you, and vice versa, if you select only post invoices, then the system will not post the payments. Typically, by default, the system will post both type of transactions. Another safety check in here is that the cutoff date. You can, by default, the system backdated 30 days from the current date. This gives you a safety window of 30 days. In case you accidentally run this posting procedure, you still have the most recent transaction unposted, allowing you the opportunity to re-edit or modify them. So by default, it's backdated to 30 days, August. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to go ahead September 19th or 18th. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Okay, and there's another prompt. You're about to unpost entries. You want to continue. I'm going to answer yes. So as you can see here, the system goes through and process all the transaction. Since we don't have too many, it's pretty much done. I can click on OK. At this point, I do have the option to print a posting journal. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and I'm going to leave the default option to what it is. Here, actually, I'm going to just either preview it or save it to a PDF file. So this is a preview of the posting journal, AR posting journal. I can certainly save this to a PDF file, okay, or print it to a PDF printer if you have one. Okay, it's still processing. So now I have a PDF file, and here I do have the option to save this for reference. Okay, so this is, let's say, AR posting file, posting journal, and you can put in the date, 9/18, for your own reference. Okay, so GL AR posting journal with the date. Save. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this and return to my GL AR posting journal report. I can cancel out of this. So at this point I have my report. I can exit out of this posting procedure. Now you can run this as often as needed, even if you set up the same cutoff date. So let's say if I change this to September. The system program or designed to post only unposted transactions. So once a transaction has been processed, it will be flagged as posted, and the system will not post duplicate entries into the general ledger master file. So I'm going to go ahead. At this point, we are going to view the general journal entries to see all the transactions. As you can see here, all the transactions have been posted with the proper default sales account right here, 4,000, and the default accounts receivable trade, which is 106. So for this invoice, the total, you can see the invoice number here. The reference number indicates the invoice number, I for invoice number 1101, P for payment, you can see here, with the type, source. You can go further over to this side. You can see what's the source is, which is the payment posting source, IV for invoice, and you can have credit memos right here too. And here we have hints to show how this transaction will affect the balance of this particular account, and it has the GL memo of whether it's the company, typically the customer name related to that invoice or related to that transaction. Now let's go down to this particular invoice where we had a $5 discount for Department 5. I don't know if we have, or Department 15. Let's see. Well, I don't see it. Maybe it's maybe the date is not within the range that we specify. But nevertheless, you can see that it's correctly, the system correctly assigned the proper credit amount and debit amount to the appropriate account that you specify in the default GL AR posting file. And one thing you want to do is check to make sure that the variance amount, total debits and total credit, are in fact in agreement for this particular batch before you make the final post to the general ledger master file. And we since they are, I mean, there's no variance at this point, we can go ahead and do the final posting to the general ledger master file. So right from here, we can click on post, and it's going to go through and check. Now, during this check-in process, if you have any entries at all that are dated outside of the current open period or fiscal year, the system will prompt you and indicate which transaction you need to correct before you can proceed into the final posting. But in this case, we have all the transactions within the open period and reasonable. The transaction date are in agreement, so we could go ahead and post, and it did. At this point, the system is prompting to see if we need to print a posting journal report, and I'm going to go ahead and select yes. Then again, I'm going to preview this, and it should be all inclusive of all the transactions within this batch. And at the end of this report, it shows the total debits and total credit for each of the affected accounts here. So you have the total check deposited against the regular checking account. You have total debit against accounts receivable trade, and total credit for the sales account and any other miscellaneous income, as well as return and allowances and sales tax associated with this batch. And again, you do have the option to save, and we recommend that you save your report as a PDF file so that you have a record, a reference in case you need to go back and confirm or validate some of the posted transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and save this again. Save a copy. And this GLAR posting general journal. So this is a general journal post, okay? General journal. I'm going to save this. Okay, I'm going to return back to application. Cancel this out. The system then clears out the batch, and you can repeat this process. As you can see here, the general journal entry batch is now complete. You can repeat this process for AP entries, post AP entries here. Please make sure that yes, I'm going to go ahead and select that. Again, you have the option of either posting AP payments like checks, computer checks, manual checks alone, or you can post vouchers, AP vouchers, again alone, or by default both are checked. So when you post both vouchers, AP vouchers and AP payments will be posted to the general journal file. Again, you have the same safety 30 days backdated cutoff date. Depends on how often you post and how update you want your GL reports to be. You can go ahead and modify this. Now keep in mind that once you post the entries, those entries, vouchers or payment, will not be allowed to be edited. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 9, 18. Click on OK. Sure, yes. Okay, it's been successful. Again, you're prompted to print out a posting journal. I'm going to go ahead and select yes, and I'm going to preview it. Again, you can save this as a PDF file. I'm going to do that too. Okay, and I will save a copy for future reference. AP posting journal. Okay, exit out this. Back here. Again, I'm going to cancel out this, cancel when I'm done, and go back to the general journal entries. And this time I should have only the AP entries. And in this case, we have accounts payable, default account of 2060, and checking account of 1001. And these are the payments, and these are the checks made to these vendors. The reference number typically signifies V for voucher number, so we can look it up, voucher number 1156 for example, and these are the accounts payable payments number. Like in this case, if you read this, it would be account payment number 1187 with a check number of 10124, and the same for the rest of the transactions. And the GL source again indicates where or which module these transactions came from. So in this case, you have AP and VO for vouchers. Again, once the transactions are posted to the general journal file, you want to make sure that the total debits and total credits are in agreement, and the variance amount is 0. And once these numbers are in agreement, you just simply click on Post to do the final posting into the general master file. Click on post. Again, it goes through a verifying process. If it detects any of the transaction outside of the normal date range, it will prompt you to either delete them or correct the date so that the transaction falls within the valid accounting period. Again, it's prompting us to print out the general posting journal report. So I'm going to select yes. Again, default to whatever date range that's already in this system. I'm going to preview this, and again I'm going to, at the end of the report, it shows the total debits and total credit posted to these accounts. And I can go ahead and print this to a PDF and save this report for future reference. Okay. Again, I'm going to save a copy, and this time it's AP posting general journal. Alright, and this is done. I'm going to exit out of this, cancel, And once again, the system clears the batch at the end of this final posting, and we start with the general journal, a blank general journal entry file. To make general journal manual journal entries, you simply go back into general journal entries and create new ones, and simply just select the account number that you want to debit and enter the debit amount, let's say 1,000, and then you can put in the reference number or the memo note pertaining to this manual journal entry. Certainly you do need to put in the same amount for the credit account, for a credit amount. So I need to click on new to add a new line entry in the general journal file, and this time we can just go ahead and select, let's say so let's say payroll, outside work, okay, and I can put in 4,000. Reference number, you can put in your notes here, and I can click on recalculate to have the system show the total debits and total credits, as you can see here. And then once that is done, we just simply click on post again. Okay, and again you're prompted to print the general journal. I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick preview of this. It shows the total debit and total credit here, and at this time it should clear out the batch once again. So essentially the ability to post AR and AP entries into GL allows you to update your GL financial reports and checkbook account balances. The question then is, how often should you post AR and AP entries? Well, it depends on how often you want your checkbook balance to be up to date, and how up to date your profit and loss or balance sheet in GL you want it to be. So the answer to that is really it depends, and you have to really balance between having an updated checkbook balance and GL reports with preventing the user in other modules, like other departments like invoicing or AP, from being able to go back and make corrections to their daily transactions. So again, keep in mind that once these transactions have been posted to GL, no modification are allowed. You can certainly make corrections by creating credit memos or adjusting entries and post them again. And these steps were put in place to provide a solid audit trail of all the financial activities. I hope this video was helpful. This concludes the training video on how to post GL, AR, and AP entries. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video.